Hello, amazing humans. Welcome back to my channel. In case you don't know who I am, I'm Kimberly Jo Height, and I am an empowerist. So, how am I going to empower you today? Well, I'm going to go back to the basics again, talking about Dr. Joseph Murphy, his book, How to Attract Money, I believe is the title. And I want to talk about something specific today. And I think this will be the last video I do about his book specifically. And it's kind of something that I I love how things just show up in my life that pertain to me, or it's going to help a loved one or a client. And so I'm going to share with you a quote, and that'll be basically what the topic is tonight. So, do not condemn that which you seek to have. So, what does that mean? You can't complain about something and expect to have the opposite in your life. So if you have feelings of jealousy, envy, judgment of some kind, or let's just put it under a bigger umbrella, but a negative thought about something. So let me give you some examples. Let's say we're talking about his book specifically is talking about money. So he's talking about, if you want to celebrate, praise, or bless others' good fortune, their success. And when you do, you also do the same for yourself. So let me give you an example. And my husband, God love him, he subscribes here and he follows me on TikTok and he loves all my videos, trying to be supportive. And he comes home every day. So I don't think he watches my videos. So that's why I'm going to share this. And if he does, honey, I love you. So he comes home from work and he talks about specific coworkers who don't do their job. And so I politely sit and listen. And then there are times where we will have conversations about, you create that. If you would stop thinking of your coworkers of not doing their job and change that around, then your coworkers would conform to your reality and either get moved to another department or start doing their job or not have anything to do with the jobs that you're working on. So, and then I had a conversation with another friend who was talking about, quitting one job and going to another. And again, I don't know all the details, but it made me think of, when you have a job that you don't like, and there's certain things that you don't like about it, if you don't change your thoughts while you're at the old job, you're going to take all those problems and all those things into the next job, the new job. So it can start out being perfect, but then you'll start to notice that your coworkers start to do things, or your boss does things, or you're feeling overwhelmed again, or you're underpaid, or whatever it is that you're thinking over here. If you don't change the thoughts here and you travel over here, you're going to bring those same thoughts with you. So the location has changed, the circumstances, your reality have not. So that's one example, or maybe two or three. So another example would be, let's say I'm going to use myself as an example, and it's not something that's an issue for me, but I'm going to make it an issue. So I just want to say thank you to the 22 subscribers that I have here on YouTube. I celebrate you that you are here supporting my channel and you resonate with what I'm sharing. Yes, I do have my husband on here, so he's one of them. And I think two of my sons, but they don't watch my videos either. So I've got a few family members that have subscribed just to be supportive. So I could do one of two things. I could, and then also let me share with TikTok, I have 32 followers over there. So I could take that information and be like, okay, let me go look at the analytics. I don't even understand the analytics. Let's just be honest. Okay. I'm showing up here on YouTube and TikTok and just sharing my knowledge. I didn't plan this. I didn't go and do a bunch of research. I didn't take any training. I'm just showing up, recording videos. Here I am. Okay. So all of my followers and subscribers are totally organic, minus the few friends between the two apps, depending on who uses what. So I could, really just go like, okay, why am I not like going viral? Or why am I, what am I doing wrong? Or I could see someone else's video and be like, oh my God, why are they talking about that? You know, or oh my God, why does she have so many followers? I just can't stand her content. Oh my God. So I could do that and complain about it, right? Or I could do what Joseph Murphy actually talks about and what I actually was already doing. So he says that when you celebrate, praise, or bless other good fortune, success, and when you do, you also do the same for yourself. So I'm repeating that for you. I already shared it a few minutes ago. So what you bless, you multiply, and what you condemn, you lose. Now, there may be, here's another example. So I have heard several different channels that pop up, and so I just, I show up curious to see what someone else has to say, and sometimes there's a little breadcrumb or a nugget in there, and if I don't resonate with them energetically, I just move on. There's no judgment. I just keep going. But there are a few things I've noticed that when they do pop up, that you know, some people are bashing law of attraction. Some people are telling you that the law of assumption is the only law. And then my own self here included, I haven't bashed anything, but I had an issue or a judgment with using the word manifesting or manifestation. And obviously I've worked through that, but I actually that actually led to me writing auto-shit-ism, which that doesn't always go really great in a sentence, let's be honest. And when I recognized that I was having this issue with the word manifesting, I'm like, what is it about this word? And I don't want to judge things. And because I know that when I have an attachment to something, that there's a judgment, or I'm envious, or I'm jealous, or I'm angry, or whatever it may be, whatever that, insert whatever negative word you want, I'm keeping what I want from me. So going back to my subscribers and just celebrating that I have 22, some of you might think, well, she's only got 22. Why is she celebrating? Because that means there's 22 people that resonate with me. I honor every single one of you. And I celebrate that my message is going out in the world. And I don't think that a number of subscribers or followers determines my self-worth or how amazing I am, and that my message, it's being heard. So I started to play with something. And so I'm going to tell you two things. So when I was thinking about, you know, getting my subscribers and my followers to go up, like, do I need to like post more content every day? And then I was like, no, I'm doing what feels good to me. I don't want to go do all the things that they typically tell you have to do to grow your following on social media. I'm a rule breaker. I don't follow the rules. I do what I want for me, right? I've talked about that here several times. So here's what I did. I have two things. The first thing I did was I was like, oh, let me go celebrate other people who are being so successful on YouTube and on TikTok. And that's what I did. I would go and I would look at their numbers and be like, oh my God, look at them. Like they have 65,000 subscribers, or they have 100,000, or whatever that number was. And then I'm like, oh, look, that video has like 18,000 views. That's amazing. Or 1.1 million views. That's like, wow. And I was celebrating them, because celebrating them is, again, that's going to reflect back to me. It's kind of like that mirror work that I haven't really gone into the whole mirror work and the shadow work and all that stuff, but you kind of get the idea that I'm celebrating them. So that's going to be reflected back to me. I believe that. That's something that I believe in. So again, anything that I say here, take what resonates, leave the rest. And so the second story I want to tell you about this little interesting little thing. So I decided to start playing. So I went to the home button on TikTok, and you know how you can just swipe up, and I love comedy. So I was kind of doing some laughter therapy. So I would go find stuff that would make me laugh. and I was scrolling through a bunch of stuff. Well, one of the people that I stopped on, she was talking about TikTok putting new creators in this 200 to 300 view jail. I was like, what? What the hell's that? And then I shit you not, I cannot make this stuff up, you guys. She said, let's support Kimberly. And I was like, she just said my name. I was like, that's so bizarre. Like, she can't be talking about me, right? And my videos are right around I have my very first video has like 880 views. And then after that, there's some that are under 100. But the main numbers of my videos on TikTok are like, 238. And I know that's such a strange number, but that's what I remember. And I was like, oh, she's right. I must be in some TikTok jail. And I didn't really think a whole lot about it, but somewhere it must have sunk in. And I had a moment of, am I doing something wrong on YouTube or TikTok that I'm not getting more subscribers or followers? And then I was like, oh, you know what? Let's play a game. Because it's for me, and that's where I had to ask myself, am I chasing subscribers and followers, or am I wanting to connect with humanity and share my knowledge? And that's really what was most important to me. And obviously, I'm a coach, I have clients. Yes, you can come work with me if you want to. I'm still, determining how that's all unfolding. I'm currently doing one-on-one, but I am looking into doing some membership type things because I want to reach more people. But I have to do what feels good to me. And plus, I'm an artist and I've got some other things going on with that. And I'm writing more books and putting out journals and all the things. So once I realized, I was like, oh, I kind of got into the whole, I wonder if I got any new subscribers or new followers today. So I decided to play a game. So after I was doing the first game of going and just celebrating everybody, and I didn't even realize I was doing that before the whole seeing this woman talk about me. Oh, and going back to that lady, um, she, she was talking about me, I think, because the next thing I know, she follows me on TikTok. What? And she hasn't DM'd me, I don't think. I don't know if you can DM on TikTok, but she hasn't like reached out, like trying to help me, like sell me anything. She just subscribed or followed me on TikTok. But yeah, I shit you not, she said my name, and then the next time I went and saw that I had in my messages, I had a new follower, it was her. I was like, what? This is crazy. So, okay, sorry. Again, the squirrels, you have to forgive me for the squirrels. Just bear with me. I do have points and I do eventually get to them. So I decided to start playing this game. And I actually shared this with my client today about, playing, having that sense of curiosity and playing with all the different techniques and seeing what works for you. That's part of the fun when it comes to getting what you want and aligning with it and having and living the life that you want. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to start doing affirmations for this. So I started writing. And I don't even have that notebook in here. So how did I put it exactly? Something about, why is it so easy for me to be famous on social media? Why is it so famous for me to be famous on social media? And so I think I started writing that last night, or maybe the night before. It doesn't really matter. So I'm playing with it. And I really have this non-attachment to it. I really am just celebrating those who are here now. Like, I appreciate you. I love you. And I always intend that anybody that's in my sphere, in my energy field, that you are all happy, healthy, and abundant. So there you go. So that's another example. All right. So let's get back to Joseph Murphy. See you again, squirrels. So he talks about action is the internal movement of your mind. The reaction was the response of the outer world to conform to your inner thinking. So anytime you resent, feel jealous, or envious, you're basically stealing from yourself. So and I love what he says next. He says, do not let them, thoughts, live in your mind. This makes me think of Alice in Wonderland. Off with their heads. He says, cut their heads off with the fire of right thought and feeling. So, how do you do that? Well, I just told you how you do that. You start doing affirmations, or you go celebrate somebody. Celebrating is I mean, That's a gem. There's like, if you're not celebrating other people's success, I highly recommend giving it a try. There is something about really getting into that feeling of celebrating someone else's success. And when I say success, I'm not talking about just like business success. I'm talking about someone who is happily married, or someone who just got engaged, or someone who just had a baby, or someone who just got their dream job, or somebody who, their business took off, or someone who just went viral on social media. Success covers all areas of life, and just go celebrate them, you know? And it really starts you to shift your thinking. And also, don't forget about celebrating you. Celebrate you and where you are in this moment. And if you have the thought, well, I have nothing to celebrate, okay, then go find something to celebrate. Go find someone to celebrate. It really does. I almost feel like it's a sense of magic shifting. And when you can do that, you can celebrate someone else and become neutral, letting go of judgments and changing your thought process to the askfirmations portion of it, or even just an affirmation. These are all tips, tricks, techniques that will help you or benefit you if you put them into practice. And I'm not saying that it's always easy. Like, I'm not here to blow rainbows and unicorns up your hiney. I mean, it's not it. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into it. And when I say work, I don't call it hard work. And it's not even like, it's not hard. You just have to choose that you're going to show up for you and put in the work. And when I say put in the work, it means policing your thoughts, catching the bullshit stories that you're telling yourself, or the negative things. And it's not even so much that you create the negative, and that's a whole nother video, but you do create your reality. And so take back your power. And Joseph talks about that. So he says that infinite intelligence, which I call source, or my higher self, or you can call God, or whatever you want to call it. But infinite intelligence governs and watches over all my financial transactions, and whatsoever I do shall prosper. That is the affirmation that he gives in his book. Infinite intelligence, source, governs and watches over all my financial transactions, and whatsoever I do shall prosper. So again, this money's all, or I'm sorry, this book is all about how to attract money. So the next thing that he tells you, well, and again, I take notes so that I can remember things, but this is important. I've already kind of said it, but stop giving your power away to the negative. And yes, it does take a conscious effort. It takes a discipline. I've heard people saying a strict mental diet, and the strict mental diet doesn't resonate within me like the words themselves. And so when something doesn't resonate, I find the words that work for me. Words are very powerful. And what words work for me in my affirmation or my affirmations or how I speak in general maybe not be the same words for you, because we all have different backgrounds and different experiences and all the things. But really, stop giving your power away to the negative. That is such a powerful statement, because when you do that, when you can make it neutral, when you can celebrate, and I know there's some talk about stop doing the gratitude journal. You don't have to be thankful. Like, again, those are some comments that I've seen where people are like, don't do that. And here's the thing. There are so many techniques out there that if doing a gratitude journal or being grateful for something, if that works for you, don't stop doing it because somebody here on social media says you don't have to, or why it doesn't work, or there's not a lot of reasons why things don't work unless you believe it doesn't work. Does that make sense? Okay, that's my rant on that. So then he talks about your external world, body and circumstances, your environment, and your financial status are always a perfect reflection of your inner thinking, beliefs, feelings, and convictions. So again, let's go back to uh, bitching about your coworkers. I was watching a movie, and I don't remember the exact quote, and I'm not going to share the movie so that way I don't get in trouble for not quoting it correctly. And I didn't take notes, but the actor was saying to the other person in the movie that you can't take yourself from here and move across, the country here and not have the same problems. And I was like, oh, that kind of ties in with what I'm like, what I just read, what I've been talking about, some conversations with some clients. And so, yeah, you can't take the situation with coworkers not doing their job and quit and go to another job. If you don't recognize the negative thoughts here, you're going to have the negative thoughts over here. So I hope that's making sense. And then let me share this with you. And again, these are all quotes from his book. So Dr. Joseph Murphy, whatever the mind dwells upon, it multiplies, magnifies, and causes it to grow until finally the mind becomes qualified with the next state of consciousness. So when you change the behavior over here and the thoughts over here, because you're celebrating your coworkers, you're doing your affirmation or askfirmation of, why do my coworkers show up so happy every day? Why do my coworkers help me with all of my projects? Why do my coworkers work so hard to help me out? Whatever that question is, when you change it over here, when it is time to move on or you decide to move on, then when you get over here, the coworkers are going to do the same thing because you've already changed it over here. Okay. Excuse me, I'm still a little wheezy. Yeah, I just want to repeat that because I really, again, there's some things that you just listen to it and just see if it sinks in or if it resonates. But whatever the mind dwells upon, it multiplies, magnifies, and causes it to grow until finally the mind becomes qualified with the next state of consciousness. Yet, this is also true if your mind is dwelling on the negative, you're going to stay in that state of consciousness. Nothing's going to change until you change internally. So, all of this stuff of getting what you want, law of attraction, manifestation, law of assumption, auto-shit-ism, it's an inside job. It starts within, it's connecting the mind and the body. And again, that's why I'm showing up here to share the things that I've experienced, the things that I've done, giving you tips and tricks and techniques to try. And so I really ask that you just show up curious. And if I do say something and you have a judgment about it, check yourself. Test out what I'm saying. Show up. When I say show up curious, it's not because I want you to believe what I'm saying. These are my thoughts, my beliefs, this is my journey. This is what has brought me to where I am today. There were times in the past that I didn't believe things or I had judgments or things weren't working out for me. So I can honestly say that, I took from different programs, I love to read, so different books. I take what resonates in that moment and apply it to my life. And even now, as I've gotten older, I show up even more curious. I may not understand everything, and I may not necessarily agree with everything, but I show up curious because there might just be a breadcrumb, that one little phrase or one sentence or even just one word that like clicks everything for you. And you're like, oh, that's what I'm doing. Let me go do this instead, or let me try this, let me try that. Find what works for you. That is my biggest thing, is that there's not one right technique. There's not one right coach. There's not one right anything. Because again, what's right for me, we are all so different. We all have different experiences. We are souls having a human experience, and you have to discover for yourself. And I'm getting to this quote, it's amazing. But you have to discover for yourself what works for you. And you have to show up for yourself and do the work, whether that's repetition or that's scripting and writing it out, or just being grateful. Whatever it is that's working for you, keep doing it. And then the other thing I want to add here before I go tell you this quote is that there are times where if you're doing a certain technique, and this is just kind of again, a squirrel thing for me, and Again, thank you for enjoying my squirrels. But if you're finding that a certain technique is not working, or you're not enjoying it, or you're just kind of bored with it, stop doing it. Like really. So I'll give you an example. I used to do, I don't remember the specific technique, but like I said, I've read a lot of books, and I want to say it was something out of um M. Grout. I think it was her E squared book, but don't quote me on that. There was something I was doing, and it was fun in the moment, and then I kept trying to force myself to do it because I had like success with it, and then I realized like this isn't fun anymore. And sometimes I just get bored. Like you kind of have to re-engage yourself, you know? It's like you've gotten to this comfort zone of like, hey, life is pretty good. You're doing the same things. But then you're like, you want to shift, you want to grow, you want to evolve. So if you're feeling that way, like you're bored with whatever technique that you're doing, go do another technique. Go do something fun or just sit it down for a little bit. Sometimes just sitting it down is the best thing to do and just go live your life, which I recommend anyway. I need to make a video about that. See, again, squirrel. But if a technique is like boring or it's not working, sometimes just sit it down, go live, go do something fun, go do something that's going to make you laugh. Okay. All right. That's the last squirrel, I promise. And I think this is how I'm going to finish this video for y'all tonight. And again, I hope something has resonated here. And this is directly quoted from his book. Through your capacity to choose, imagine the reality of what you selected, and through faith and perseverance, you can realize your goal in life. All the riches of heaven are here now within you, waiting to be released. And actually, I fit. It's not the last quote. There's one more. I forgot to turn the page. And so he says also, as within, so without, as above, so below. Man is belief expressed. And so, where's that quote? I knew it was like, oh, here it is. I write it out of order. This is how I'm going to end this video. So thank you for showing up. And if you've hung out this long, I super appreciate you, enjoying my squirrels and all the things. And again, I appreciate and celebrate all of you for being here and being part of my channel. And as I discover what this journey looks like for me. And so with that being said, love, light, and really big hugs. Until the next one. And here's the quote that I'm going to end this video with. Nothing is hidden from us, and all of source is within us, waiting for our discovery and inquiry. Mwah.